This reading is going to be about the information I got while I was channeling in the Akashic Records in response to our current administration and the terror that they're inflicting on US citizens. Now, normally these types of readings are not under the category of the readings I normally offer. However, I felt it was really very important to bring some perspective, to bring some wisdom, guidance, and understanding about how to handle these really challenging times, and also to get some guidance from the higher dimensional beings that work in the records. I felt that this could be really a helpful thing to give people insight, wisdom, and to know how to handle this in a way that came from a place of healing and action. My name is Carey, and I'm a medium and a mentor. And here on my YouTube channel, I offer readings every week for healing and guidance, and really supporting you on your spiritual path. And then I also work as a mentor and a teacher. And for me, this type of reading isn't something I normally do, even on a public stage, or because I like to remain as objective as possible. But it was so important for me to be able to tap in and really know how to get information to help provide guidance and insight to my community, this collective. And so if this resonates for you, I'm very happy to connect and give you this information. So when I went into the Akashic Records this morning and I asked my guides what is going on right now with us from a political standpoint, but also what can we expect? How can we respond in a way that's empowered and educated and informed? And also, what do we need to know to prepare? And so the first thing I really saw is that right now, as far as the what is happening and what will continue to happen, I really saw the state of Oregon, which happens to be the state that I live in. And then I saw explosions going off. And I just noticed that these were in more heavily populated areas. So it looked like explosions. So for me, those looked like they were pretty large, but probably the size of like maybe 10 feet around. So I am not sure what kind of explosives those would be, but I definitely saw these going off. And I really felt and heard that the reason they're attacking Oregon first is because Oregon is known as like a softer, more easygoing state, and that they wouldn't ever start with California because of Governor Newsom and because of the stronghold that he has already prepared and is organizing in that state. So it's not as vulnerable as a point as Oregon is. After that, then I saw things moving to the state of Washington, and where there would just be the idea where we're trying to disempower people, trying to make people frightened, trying to take people's rights away slowly but surely and steadily. And there is a strategic attack. That's really what I was getting. So it starts in Oregon, moves its way up to further north to Washington State, going into Seattle, especially in the most blue areas in both states. And then I see it going down from Northern California, which is similar in a lot of ways to Oregon, down through the state. So this is the essence of what I see going on as from a psychic's perspective and also from the Akashic Records. Of course, I always am connecting it in with other parts of the country. And what I also saw, besides what we already know about the Chicago area, but also it moving into like Detroit and some of the really multicultural areas and where things feel vulnerable. And that I felt is his plan of attack. Then taking off and trying to attack and disarm the smaller places in New England would be likely, but not on the list of priorities. So I just want to give you this information, because when I'm looking at this from the perspective of the Akashic Records, I'm looking at it from a pure energy standpoint. But I am not here just to be able to tell you that and leave you in this position of disempowerment. What I ask the guides next is, how can people prepare and what can they do to change the trajectory of this outcome? And this is really what I heard from the guides. The suggestion was to really connect with your neighbors, to start small in your own community, to remember that you have a lot of light within you. And the main thing is you have to care for that light. You have to care as much for your emotional, mental, and physical well-being, because your light, coupled with your neighbor's light and your community's light, will start to push out that light of the bombs I saw, and of the the mass push for deportation and control and silencing and muting. And so the important thing now is that we rise as much as we can on a very much a grassroots level. And if you don't feel within yourself strong enough, I'm really hearing that couple with other people that are creating a lot of positive change and resistance. And the sense of this really is, from a psychic perspective, and again, from the spiritual perspective, is that we have the opportunity to change the trajectory of how this occurs. This is just like it was in around the civil rights movement. And this is what also happened as well during different parts in our history after the Great Depression. And then throughout time and history in different locations throughout the entire world. So if we feel a sense of being disempowered, which is very understandable, it's easy to get very triggered by everything you're seeing as though you have no control. But what the guides were really saying is, you absolutely do. You don't want to spend a lot of time in the place of complaining about how bad it is. That is one thing they really said. Rather, share with people your fears, your uncertainties, your feeling of hopelessness, but then make sure to do the things you need to do to balance your energy and to be able to take action. That seemed very important as far as what the guides were saying. We also really want to pay attention to the astrology right now. So right now, as I'm looking at my clock and my date, it's October 13th. Pluto is going direct in Aquarius. And this is extremely important because Aquarius, we are in the age of Aquarius. And so that means that we are going more towards the human race and towards a collective and not just looking out for self. We're fighting up against those opposing energies. And so this is really a time when we need to, all the fear that comes up within us and all the feeling of disempowerment and all the feeling of hopelessness and bitterness and skepticism, which is understandable, needs to be alchemized and then needs to be joined in order to have things move forward. This is very important. I also really want you all to know that your spirit guides are always with you and lining up with you to help you network, find the people you need to find, and be able to circumvent some of these things. Now, the other point I was saying, if you're in a place where you feel in any way compromised or in danger or as though you are not safe, this is when, and this is one of the hardest messages, is we really have to say, okay, in this moment, what do I need to do? And checking in and knowing that there will be guidance and wisdom for you. The other thing I'm really getting is connecting with your ancestors as much as you possibly can in order to get guidance, wisdom, and information, because your ancestors can make things happen that no human can make happen. They can help you network, they can help you find the right people, they can make doors open, and they really want you to plant your feet in the soil. This is something I'm really hearing and I'm really receiving right now. So I am relying on my ancestors because a lot of my ancestors broke through from an American perspective, broke ranks with racists They broke ranks and stepped away from people that were making choices that suppressed people and kept people down. And the ancestors I'm leaning into are the ones who made changes in their lives enough to help humanity, not just themselves. So we all have that kind of chutzpah or power or grip within us. And I understand that it seems really difficult and seems as though it's an avalanche taking over. But the more we lean into kind of learning from Portland, right, is like, you got to be smarter than them. We have to be not reactionary to the way that they're trying to antagonize us. They want us to react. Remember, they are smoke and mirrors, okay? We are in reality of what is true and honest. And I want you to know the guides know this, okay? The guides and the wreckers know this. And the guides that are here to help you also know this. So if you work with archangels, if you work with goddesses, if you work with the saints, if you work with deities, they are here to help you. So the main thing now, and this is not easy, is that we need to remain steadfast. We need to stick together, and we need to not let the regime of what they are putting on top of us make us feel like we have no power and we have no choice. Now, before I end this channeled message from the Akashic Records, I want to thank the guides for, first of all, being here so clearly for us. And I want to see if there's any other message. This is perfect. Okay, so what we're getting right here is we are getting the Magician card and the Hermit card. The Hermit card will shine light on the darkness. It will shine light on what is false. It will also bring us into illumination so that we are not having to be overrun by things that have been thrown upon us from an imagery standpoint. But then we also have the Magician. The Magician is telling you, you have all of the tools. You have the light, you have the relationship, the connection, right? You have the sword, and then you have also the earth. So use these things to collectively get together with your community, your neighbors, your friends, doing whatever you can to stand up and resist in a way, peacefully protest if needed. Then this is why it makes me feel like I know this is going to be a long haul, but it is going to happen. We have the Chariot card with the Knight of Pentacles. The Chariot is a yes card. It's a card of movement. It's a card of resistance and pushing against something. And it's a card of something being successful. But it also is the Knight of Pentacles, which shows this is going to be slow. It's going to need to be methodical, and it's going to need to really be resourceful, okay? Because the Knight of Pentacles, as we know, it's the slowest knight, but we are moving with that Chariot card. Friends, I really hope this resonated for you. Again, not my normal type of reading, but I felt like it was so important. I hope it brings light to you and clarity and support. If you like these kinds of channeled messages, please let me know. You can put a comment here, and please like, subscribe, and share. We'll see you in the next reading.